George Masri here. Thank you for joining another episode of the Well Off podcast, where I interviewed the man, Russell Westcott, the JV Jedi, as some of you know him. It was pretty cool getting to know him a little bit. It was my first time actually having a conversation with him. I've seen him present before, but this was a cool conversation because we talked all about the mindset of being a joint venture partner, or maybe not partner, but just doing joint ventures, and what kind of mindset you need to be successful in that. I think a lot of people are afraid of splitting a pie with someone when it comes to a joint venture, but Russell talked all about just giving, and growing together rather than just thinking, I want to keep this all for myself. So I really think if you have a desire to do joint ventures, you're going to learn a lot about this. So not only did we talk about the mindset, we talked about the systems, we talked about the ABC model coined by Russell himself, which is attracting an audience, building relationships, creating irresistible offers, and so much more. I don't want to give it all away. I really think you should listen to this all the way till the end because you're going to get lots of good stuff. And I do want to remind you, if you do like this, the way that what we're doing is trying to get the message out there, trying to share with as many people as possible. So if you want to share this podcast with your friends and family, that would be appreciated. Leave us a review on the podcast app on Apple. And also, if you're on YouTube, give us a like and subscribe. So enjoy the episode. And if you are looking for some resources, free resources that you can download and review, go to www.welloff.ca/report. Tons of free stuff for you there. Enjoy the episode. Welcome to the Well Off podcast, where the goal is to motivate, inspire, and share success principles. Today, I am here with the JV Jedi himself, Mr. Russell Westcott. And for those that don't know, Russell is a husband, a father, a real estate entrepreneur, an author, public speaker, known as the JV Jedi, as I just said. A little bit about Russell. He built his first $1 million real estate portfolio within his first year of taking the leap into full-time real estate investing, and continues to build and manage his own personal real estate portfolio. He is the co-author of 2 best-selling Canadian real estate books. There's so much to learn. I look forward to diving into the whole JV Jedi mindset. Russell, thank you for joining us today.
Hey, George, how's it going? So I almost feel like I should be getting out the lightsaber right about now with that introduction and say, these are the podcast listeners you are looking for. Right? Oh, yeah. Sorry. So I got a really bad sense of humor, guys. So right off the bat, I always say start off with a bad joke, and then they only get worse from here. Right?
Nice. I like that.
So George, before we dive into it, I just wanted to thank you. I want to thank you for putting together an amazing podcast, an amazing amount of resources, and to put together podcasts. This is time and effort and an investment, and this is a labor of love. This isn't podcast and riches, and it is a labor of love. And I wish that there was resources like you're putting together when I first got started. So I just wanted to acknowledge you and say thank you for putting together this amazing podcast that you have. And I really hope I can do justice to this compared to some of the wonderful guests that you've had on so far.
Awesome. I really appreciate that. Like you said, I do this to help people and to share a message, and people like yourself are often, I get good responses about people like yourself. I'm sure there's going to be tons of great content in here.
Well, we'll try.
Yeah.
Or I should say that do or do not, there is no try.
Exactly. There you go. So before I get started into the real estate content, I usually like to ask about your childhood. So I'd like to know where you grew up and a few things you remember from your childhood.
Oh man, childhood. You're really going back, aren't you?
Yeah.
40 and 20. Oh, sorry. I digress for any of you speech fans of Abraham Lincoln out there. Okay. How far do we want to go back and what's relevant? So the simple answer is I'm just a simple farm boy, or I should say, correct that. I'm simple prairie boy from Saskatchewan. I grew up in a very, very small town. Like there's, population less than 300 people. And if you wanted to have somebody to play with, you needed a dog, right? So there was literally everybody, all the kids in town played together. Nothing special, nothing traumatic, and also nothing special about my upbringing. Grew up in a mobile home, right? We were the ones that had the double wide trailer, right? So we were the ones that people would sit there, oh, look at them, the double wide trailer with the carport. Ooh, the fancy one, the fancy trailer over there in the trailer park.
Yeah.
Just had a loving family, amazing upbringing. I played every sport imaginable growing up. It was just one of those ones when it was time, just picture this, it's like a Norman Rockwell painting that when it was time for dinner, Mom would open the door and she'd yell out there, Carly, Russell, time for dinner. And then everybody, all the kids in the neighborhood and everything, we'd start going home for dinner and things like that. And then being on the prairies in Saskatchewan. And for any of you, if you want to look it up, it is really tiny. It's called Guernsey, Saskatchewan, right beside Lanigan, right in Potash country. And for some perspective, many of your listeners have probably ever heard of Humboldt based upon that hockey tragedy that happened. We're about a half hour south of Humboldt. It would be where you could look it up on a map. But you know what? Winters were hockey and summers were baseball. And, I remember many a day of, in the winter playing outdoor hockey, putting my skates on at home, skating down the street, down to the outdoor hockey rink to go play hockey for like about 8 or 9 hours during the day. And then just coming home and warming up, putting your feet in the register, right, on the heat vent that comes in, and just warming yourself up, and just had a wonderful upbringing. And I had so many opportunities to just play, and so many opportunities for sport, and so many opportunities to just flourish as a young child growing up. And sometimes I think we need to get back to a little bit more simpler times, especially when we're with our kids. And, I live in a major metropolitan city of Vancouver, in a suburb, and it's a completely different upbringing here. Like, it truly is like my dad would say, hey, kid, go play in the traffic, right? That would be a thing of just get out of the house and go play. Here it's like, okay, where do we got to drive you to? And we have to have a play date, and we have to go to a park, and we have to drive here. It's a completely different upbringing. Mm-hmm. And I think we're going to get back to a little bit more of a simpler time of just spending more time with family and just enjoying the company as a familiar, as a family unit. So
right.
Hope that gives a little perspective. That I'm just at the bottom line. I'm just a simple farm kid from Saskatchewan at heart, and that's just shaped a lot of my philosophies, and a lot of my upbringing is where I've come from.
Awesome. That's probably the most elaborate answer I've gotten to that question. I ask everybody the same question, but that was awesome. Thanks for sharing your story.
You're welcome. It's the first time anybody's ever asked me to go that far back.
Yeah. There you go.
And when I say go that far back, I had to really stretch my memory bank to go that far back. So.
Yeah, hopefully it reminded you of some good things.
Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about how you got started in real estate, because I'm curious how a farm boy from Saskatchewan ends up being the JV Jedi.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Some meaningful context for your listeners would be probably the following. After growing up small town Saskatchewan, you had really one of two choices. Really was to work at the potash mine, or was to work or to go to university and get a job and leave Saskatchewan. That was right during the time frame, and we're talking the 80s and 90s in the province of Saskatchewan, that there was an entire mass exodus of people out of that province during that time. So I had a choice to make, is either work in the potash mine, go drink beer every day on the way home, and just be one of those people every day of just saying, well, remember the day when we played Pirates hockey back and playing senior hockey, and we beat the Watrous Winterhawks 2-1 in Game 7. Remember those old days? Yeah. Could have had that choice, or I had a choice to make, that I chose to go the route of, really the only route at that time was to go to University of Saskatchewan, get a degree, and then really, to be honest, you'd move to Alberta and get a job, is really what the only path was. So I hunkered down and finally got serious about my grades, got all my marks up in my grade 11, grade 12 year. And then I went into the College of Commerce, graduated with a Bachelor of Commerce, Finance, Marketing, General Business degree out of the College of Commerce. I worked my whole way through college. I bartended. For those of you, if you're familiar with Saskatoon, you'd know the Happy Pat. And if you were in Saskatoon in the early 90s, I would have served you many an adult beverage during that time as a bartender at the Patricia Hotel in Saskatoon. And then I also worked at a couple of different golf courses. So I truly was, talk about hustles on top of hustles. I would start bartending at like 7 at night and we'd end at 3. I'd drive out to the golf course for 4 in the morning, sleep till 6, work from 6 till noon at one of the golf courses, and then I would sleep from about 2 in the afternoon till probably about 5 or 6, and I would do that 4 or 5 days a week while going to school full time to help put myself through. So after all that, I got when I was about time to graduate, I had so much fun in university that, and as gifted as a student as I was, I took a 4-year program and turned it into 5 years. That's a joke.
Yeah. I get it.
But I was just having so much fun. We were, sometimes when you do university days are some of the best days you'll ever have of your life. And I got through and, I don't think I've ever shared this, but I think I got through with a 53% average through the College of Commerce. Not one person has ever asked me for my grades ever, especially if you're going to be an entrepreneur. Nobody will ever ask you for your grades. Got through the College of Commerce, and I didn't know what I was going to do once I graduated. So, and I know this is a long story, but I will get to the whole real estate side. It is meaningful. Somebody, when I went to see one of my counselors at the university, I said I didn't know what path I wanted to go down for my career. And he said, you know what, most companies, if you're going to start working for somebody, get a job in their sales department, because most people will hire on the ground floor in sales. You get to learn the skill, and then you can work your way up through the scale, through the system as getting a good sales program. And then at the same time, you get to learn an amazing skill set. Okay. So started out with Kraft Foods, with Saputo Foods, a wine company. I tried my hand for a couple of years at professional golf. I took some time off from work, tried my hand at professional golf. And then, now here's the context for real estate. It was the turn of the century. So a funny way of saying the year 2000.
Yeah.
That was kicking in. And it was a milestone birthday for me. I was turning 30. Okay. Those milestone birthdays, sometimes the ones that have the 0 at the end. And at that time, it was Peter Pan finally had to start growing up. And I had a Peter Pan syndrome. I never, ever wanted to grow up. And I had to finally start getting serious about things. And a good friend of mine recommended a book to me called Rich Dad, Poor Dad at that time. And it's interesting that you will find a lot of people's start into a lot of these things started with that little purple book of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And now if, when you go back and you look at it, it's, we didn't really learn, you don't learn a lot from it, but really the main thing was it was a seed of inception, an inception moment that planted an idea different from what I was doing. And it led me down a completely different path. Okay. Then over that course of time, it just connected me with some more people. And eventually the pivotal connection for me was when I met Mr. Don R. Campbell, who was one of the founders of the Real Estate Investment Network. And that was a pivotal moment for the direction on the path that I was going when I saw, from one speech, from one presentation, from one person just kind of standing up and sharing their story. This was Don sharing his story. And it was back in, I think it was late 2002 when I first met Don and saw him speak. From that one encounter and that one presentation, it literally changed everything of the course of the direction that I was going. Then I started really just diving into the whole thing about real estate at that time. Now, George, don't get me wrong. I had never owned a piece of real estate in my life at that time. I had, growing up in a mobile home, I think we only moved into one house when I think we were like 15, 16, probably year 16. So we moved into our first house. I had never bought a property. I was living in a basement suite and I was renting with a roommate at that time when I first jumped in with real estate. And from that first encounter and that first presentation I saw from Don, literally everything changed after that, which started me down the path of starting to acquire properties. So you don't need experience. You don't need to have a silver spoon in your mouth. You just need probably somebody to believe in you, to have a little bit of faith, for you to trust yourself, and just somebody maybe to take their arm around you, wrap their arm around you and say, come this way, son. This is the path we're going to go down. And that's what Dawn provided to me at that time.
Awesome. And you've turned into the JV Jedi.
Interesting to note is I'm actually trying to move past the JV Jedi terminology because I think I have more to offer than just that. But here's the thing. It's, be grateful for what you're known for. And I am definitely known for joint ventures. Like, as you can see in the background here, my book that I've written with Dawn has been a national bestseller. We've co-authored 2 books together. It's probably inspired tens of thousands of people to think about it, to potentially do joint ventures. And I would bet that most people you hear talking about joint ventures probably either mastered it or heard it first from myself. And I'm not doing this to flex, or I'm not doing this to make myself sound really inspiring and look at me. It's probably just the truth that most people probably heard this term or mastered it or learned it from either a resource, a home study, a presentation, or something that I've done over the years.
Right. Well, that's awesome. And I know you kind of want to get away from that name, the JV Jedi, but can you tell us how that came to be? Where did that come from?
Well, first of all, I love Star Wars, and I use Star Wars references all the time. And sometimes I mix. I'm sorry, but I sometimes I mix Star Wars and Star Wars and Star Trek references, which that's usually a no-no. But I think we're okay in this embracing diversity. People who love Star Wars and people who love Star Trek, we should all just get along, right?
Yeah, fair enough. And you can make those jokes with me because I know you're probably not going to like this, but I haven't seen either, so I will not understand your references. sorry,
you're breaking up there, George. I think we have to call this a day here today.
Yeah, all right.
It actually happened. So someone who we probably both would know very well, Erwin Zito. Erwin was watching one of my presentations, and I was just cranking out some of the knowledge bombs and the really deep insights into this whole thing. And Erwin put out a post and say, "Holy moly, the JV Jedi is on fire here tonight." And I said, you know what? That kind of stuck. So I actually own the domain name jvjedi.com.
Cool.
And I branded a whole bunch of things. I actually got a little caricature done of it, all the kind of things like that. And I have a feeling Disney now that Disney owns Star Wars, they may come knocking on my door asking for that. Yeah. Maybe I'll gladly sell them jvjedi.com if they're interested.
Yeah, that'd be an awesome payday.
So really that's how it just kind of started. And that's really what I was known for, was somebody to help solve one of the biggest problems you will face in real estate. And that's where to come up with the capital. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, my teaching and things that I share with people are so much deeper than just a joint venture, tactics and strategies, even though I think everybody needs to be able to do a joint venture. I often call joint venturing like the gateway to bigger things. Okay. There's people that have billion-dollar portfolios and billion-dollar enterprises that still do joint ventures to this day, but it's kind of one of those ones that everybody can do. And it's kind of the gateway into bigger things and growing and scaling your portfolio.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's dive into it a little bit. The first thing I'd like to ask you is, can you describe the JV Jedi mindset?
Oh, well, here's the thing. The JV Jedi mindset is 100%. It's about helping others first. Okay. It's about making sure that the other person wins in the transaction. And then by you participating with them, you get to win with them. Okay. And that was one of the, a key thing that really stuck out to me very early is a lot of people think about this whole thing now listen to the language I'm going to use here for a second. Is I want somebody to invest with me. Why isn't, I'm almost like I have this opportunity and I'm going to sell it to somebody and somebody has to invest with me, this kind of stuff. Really, you need to flip it around and you need to flip it to the point of I have something amazing to offer and I'm giving the opportunity to somebody to participate with me in a deal. And by that person winning in the participation with me in a deal, I get to win alongside them. But the first person that wins is them. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's the first one, is that it needs to be a win for the other party first. The next one is one of my actually one of my core values of life, and it's how I sign off on most things I do, and that's to inspire, encourage, and come from a place of love. And that's the main intention as a JV Jedi mindset, is that you need to make sure people feel inspired, encouraged, and that you came from a place of love and compassion when you're doing deals with them and transactions with them. Okay, so those are two of them, and I'm going to add one more to give you a third one, and that is the mindset of a JV Jedi is most important is who you become in the process of being successful, not in the success that you're due already. And here's what I mean. Like, say you have a goal and you want to acquire 100 properties. Then maybe your goal is 10, 5, whatever your goal is, your goal. First of all, I love the tangible target of 100 places. And when I coach people, we get really crystal clear on the outcome and the result. But to me, what's more important than the 100 doors is who you become in the process of becoming a person that can acquire 100 doors. And you get that skill set and that mindset that you can then apply that to the next goal and the next hurdle you have in your life. Because success is what attracts, you attract success by the person you become, is an old Jim Rohn quote, and I firmly believe that.
Yeah, I want to dive in on something you mentioned, which is basically part of the JV Jedi mindset of pretty much creating a win for the other party rather than just thinking, I need this or I want this or whatever. So let's say you're dealing with someone and their idea is that you need to be putting in more money, you need to be qualifying for the deal, you need to be doing all these things. Are you saying that you need to still have that mindset and say, okay, I'll do these things for you, even though you're kind of devaluing yourself in some ways?
Well, I'll give you a real life example. Here's like real to life example of a recent deal. Would have been, where are we now? It would have been probably we are in 2020. Okay. Sorry, I'm dating this. It would have been in spring of this year, early spring, maybe even late winter. I was working with a fellow out of Toronto, and he wanted to do a joint venture with me, and he wanted to do this. So we clearly had the qualification call, and he was all in on doing the joint venture. Okay. And one of the things that, I will say to potential joint venture partners is I want you to be clear that you're going to be working with me, and that you have to be okay that you won't get 100% of the deal. You have to be okay with that. Because if you're not okay with that, then we'll have to have a different conversation. And this person said, yep, I'm okay. I will cut you in on this deal and stuff like that. And I said, great. So I then went out, scoured my best resources to find an incredible garage suite property in the market that I invest in. And these things are rare. Like, honest to goodness, they're like hen's teeth to try and find a suitable garage suite. And I could get into all the details, but they're rare to find. So then I took it all up, bundled it up, put it in an amazing presentation package, presented it to this person, and went through and was going through it. And it was finally time for them to make a decision, in or out. And I was pretty sure they were going to be in, but they were just being hesitant, and they were just something was stopping them. And I said, okay, just time out. What's stopping you from moving forward with this? They said, you know what? I think we can do this ourselves. And I know we talked about this, Russ, and it was okay. And I said, my entire intention is to make sure that you win and that you get what you're looking for. If you doing this on your own is what will be the biggest win for you, then I strongly encourage that. Now, aside, if they want to do it themselves, I want to have that conversation early before we're 2 or 3 years in, and then they're going, well, why am I working with you when we could have probably done this ourselves? Mm-hmm. Right? So here's what I said to that person. I said, because remember, my first intention for you is for you to win and you to do what's right for you. This property that I found, okay, if you want to close on it, you close on it yourself. Okay. And I gave them the property, and they went ahead. And a lot of times, if that's ever happened in the past, a lot of times people don't do anything with it. And then I will circle back to them 6 months, a year later and say, how was that property you bought? And most people go, well, he didn't do anything. And then I will come back and say, so are you ready to take action? Are you ready to let Russell help you take the action and get off the sidelines? Mm-hmm. But this person actually ended up buying this place. Okay. And they're closing on it, and they're going to just have a fantastic experience. So that's just a real life story of that. I told somebody that I want to do what's best for them. And in that case, what was best for them is they did it 100% themselves, mm-hmm. as opposed to partnering with me.
Right. So are you saying that you gave away that opportunity to this person without expecting anything? You didn't get anything out of that experience?
I got nothing in return.
Yeah. Okay. So what?
But here's the thing. I know this person and he's part of my community. He may become a Raising Capital Academy member. He may want to be a coaching client. I believe in serving first, right? And then find out after. But I had 100% have the intention that I gave him that opportunity with no expectation in return.
That's awesome. Is that just something, is that kind of like is that part of the JV Jedi mindset as well? Just kind of giving, not really expecting anything, or was that kind of a one-off, that one situation?
Well, no, that's just the way I believe. That's the way I, maybe going back to my upbringing, that's just the way I was brought up, right? Back in the day when we were in small town, rural prairie town, when somebody's barn burnt down, you all got together and you helped them build a barn. Right.
Yeah.
And you helped each other out. If somebody came to school and they, didn't have a shirt and you had an extra gym shirt, the gym strip in your bag, you gave them your shirt. Right.
Awesome.
That's just the way you live. That's just the way we were brought up.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. There's a lot of people out there that kind of don't really have that mindset. A lot of people, let's say people that you're potentially going to partner with, that believe that, why should I share this with you? Why, what would be the benefit? I could do this on my own. So what can you do to attract more people that have a growth mindset rather than trying to convert somebody who doesn't really believe in the same things that you might believe in?
Well, here's the thing. My first attitude always is to do what's right for the person I'm working with. And by and large, if they did it themselves, that would probably be the right answer for the majority of people. Then the next question I always ask people is, if you believe and you can think you can do it yourself, why haven't you? And then I will have the conversation with somebody. And usually what will come out of either a fear, or it will come out of, I don't know what to do. I don't have enough time. I'm just not, it's a confidence issue. And I need to hear all those kind of things of what's stopping somebody from doing it. And then what I do is I am the person that removes the fear. I'm the person who has the opportunity. I'm the person that helps make the decision. I'm the one that has the confidence and the certainty to move forward. And then that makes a really good relationship, is that we can do that. Or I'm the one that invests the time. I have lots of people that I've worked with that are significantly more successful than I am in other business avenues. Okay. But they just have no time to be able to go do all the things I do within real estate and spend it in full time. I'm literally having conversations all day long with people and real estate investors, with my team, with people like yourself, with people across this country. I am in it to win it. I am in the trenches deep within real estate, and somebody who's maybe a cosmetic dentist or a veterinarian or a pilot or something like that just doesn't have the time to focus like I do on things. And there's an awful lot of people that have some capital that would just love to be able to hand over so essentially what they're doing is they're trading their capital for my time, expertise, and opportunity set.
Right.
And what they're doing and to be honest, and I tell this to my money partners all the time, I would much rather be in your boat where I become the capital partner.
Yeah.
And all I have to do is find me to go do all the work. And then all I have to do is write a check to you. You take care of all the results. And then I just pay you. I pay you based upon a percentage of upside, and you're a partner on the downside. If we have some downside, like, really sign me up, brother.
Oh yeah, that sounds great. And I've heard that from people before, people that have been in the active partner shoes. But most people would probably rather be on the passive side. Yeah. So just to kind of recap what you said there. So for those people that you're dealing with that might be putting up certain objections about working with you and splitting the deal and whatnot, that just might really be a way for them to hide their fears of maybe not knowing what to do or not having the time or creating all these excuses. And your job is to really uncover those fears, address them, and show them how you are able to help them get past that and ultimately create the best result for themselves and for everyone involved.
Absolutely. Now, are you open to a little bit of an exercise here, George?
Sure.
Now, this will be a really good exercise for your podcast listeners here. Okay, George, have we formally met? Like how's it going? Coffee, stuff like that?
No,
not yet. You see me present. We've had some email correspondence, things like that. So we don't know each other too well yet. Okay, we're gonna have a conversation, a human conversation.
Sure.
Okay. So George, what do you like to do in your free time? What do you like when you're not podcasting and you're not helping people move forward and you're not putting resources together and helping people buy their first properties? What do you like to do in your free time?
Something totally unrelated to real estate would be playing chess.
Chess. Nice. Do you follow some chess masters? Like who would be your favorite? Who would be your dream chess opponent that you like to play?
I'd have to really practice a lot to get there, but the best player in the world his name is Magnus Carlson.
Magnus Carlson. Where does Magnus live?
I think he's Norwegian.
Norwegian? Okay.
Yeah.
So would it be an absolute dream day of you, or if you were able to go to Norway to have a match with Magnus? What was his last name again?
Carlson.
Magnus Carlson. Would it be a dream day of yours to be able to get there and be able to be in that position that you could sit down and have a match with him where you travel there, time is no option, your money is no option, and maybe you bought an experience to have a chess match with him. Would that be something that would
I don't know about facing him in chess because I think he'd smoke me, but I'd say maybe like interviewing him on the podcast would be pretty cool.
Well, but just imagine you had money was no object and you were actually to sit kneecap to kneecap across a chessboard from him. Would that be something?
Yeah, sure. Sure. Why not? That'd be awesome.
Well, hey, George, this is your dream, brother, right? Don't sell yourself short. So guys, the time out here for a second. If you're watching this on YouTube, as soon as we start talking about it, you should have saw George's face light up. You literally changed state by us now talking about this. Okay. So the next line of questioning that I would eventually dive into is I would get into, so George, what do you think it would take capital-wise for you to be able to afford to have that kind of an opportunity to go play your chess master? What do you think it would take for capital?
I don't know, let's say 10 grand.
10 grand? Nice. What would you have to do, George, in say the next 5 to 10 years to make 10 grand?
Sell a house.
Awesome. So you're into real estate.
Yeah.
Right. So you're acquiring properties and you're taking action moving forward and maybe buy a property or two. Okay. So what's stopping you from getting one more place to be able to do that, George?
Well, I was kind of referring to like selling a house as a realtor because I'm also a realtor, but yeah, nothing's stopping me. I can definitely, I don't know what to say. I have no excuses.
So nothing's stopping you. So do you need some help and support to get you over that hurdle?
Everybody needs help and support. I don't see why I wouldn't be able to use more help.
Yeah. So time out here in this conversation that we're just having now. We're just having a real life nothing was rehearsed, right? We didn't know each other. I have we've gone with our conversation, and I now know that you are probably a real estate expert who probably can do it on their own. Okay. But you probably would need some coaching and guidance and some mentorship to maybe help you. So I would start taking this conversation down the path of how I can provide some coaching and guidance and mentorship to help you get over the hurdle of what you feel is stopping you. Okay. Now let's do a quick backtrack. So let's say in this process, you answered, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to buy a piece of real estate. I don't know the market. Where do I invest? And you start having those kind of conversations, right? I would then have the conversation about that. I would then share with you how I can help you, what I do, how I partner with people, how I potentially can help you make 10 grand in 10 years over a course of an investment opportunity. And would you like my help with maybe if I could present you an opportunity? Right? Then what you typically would say at that time is you would either say, yeah, absolutely, please present me an opportunity. Now what I have is I have your permission to go out and I go out to find a property to present you an opportunity. Most people do this the exact opposite, where they sit there and go, I got a deal. Throw it out to everybody in big shotgun mode and say, who wants it? I will never, ever present an opportunity until I've had a conversation like we're having right now with another person. Because here's what the thing is I need to do. I go back to find an opportunity, and I'm building the entire presentation around helping you bridge the gap to go have a chess match day with with the master in Norway. I may even have chess pieces and chessboard, and I will talk things in strategic moves on going 2 right, 3 left, and the queen takes bishop, and I will have those kind of a conversation with you, and I will tailor my entire presentation of an investment opportunity of how us working together will help you fulfill on your dream of having your day with your chess master, kneecap to kneecap, in your dream match with Magnus.
Awesome. That's so cool. I never really thought about it like that. I've always been told to kind of figure out what the goals are in relation to real estate. Like, are you looking for cash flow? Are you looking to replace your income? But I never thought about attaching the real estate goal with a personal goal.
Yeah. But here's the thing. That first step you said, I did that. I established that you need to make 10 grand.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Then I took another 2 layers deep about what does 10 grand mean to you and what would you do with it. Then I attach the meaning of my investment opportunity to helping you fulfill on a goal and an emotional desire and not just a financial transaction.
Right. And that's so much more powerful. So
and when you guys, if you're watching or listening, sorry to jump over here, George, if you guys make that switch from going from just a transactional to an emotional relationship, you guys will be unstoppable in your raising of a capital from people. So if you can help become a dream fulfiller, if you can start becoming the bridge between where somebody is now and the lifestyle they want to see, and you're the bridge to get them over there, you will be unstoppable in this process of raising capital. Because here's the thing now, George. Let's say we had this conversation and then it came down to, and you were thinking about it. What are you saying no to if you said no to my opportunity? If I showed you a path and a plan and a bridge to help you make that, to have your dream day with your chess master,
yeah,
what are you saying no to?
To my own goal.
You're saying no to your dream.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to fulfill on your dream. I'm trying to make your dream come true by us working together, and I participate in your dream fulfillment.
Awesome. I'm definitely going to try that. That's so cool.
Don't try, do.
Just do it. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay. So in order, like you said, most people they find an opportunity, they throw it out there and they say, hey, if you're interested, email me or reach out to me, whatever. You're saying you would never do that. You would, if you found an opportunity, you would only show it to the people that you've had a conversation with and that you've discussed their goals and figured out how you can help them and how this opportunity will help them. Is that right?
100%. Because here's the thing is, my most precious resource is my time. And I do not want to waste other people's time, and I don't want to waste my time. Mm-hmm. So the last thing I want to do is present a round peg to a square hole and put somebody in the wrong investment opportunity. But I need to have the quick conversation. We need to get really clear. And the word that's really aligning with me is alignment. We need to be in alignment. We don't have to be 100% in agreement, but we need to be in alignment about the opportunity, about what this means, who's doing what, and there needs to be an alignment of parties involved, right? Cool. So here's the thing is, if you guys ever go to my website, like russellwestcott.com, I have 0 investment opportunities available on my website, but I have investment opportunities all the time that are always coming up. I will never, ever make an opportunity presentation to somebody until we've had multiple layers of conversation and I see that this is a fit and I see if this will work. Then after that, then we'll have a conversation about an investment opportunity.
Right. Okay, cool. So you have this list of people that you work with, and it's not really a list of people. It's more so you have relationships with people, from what I take it. Yep. How do you meet these people? How are they able to raise their hand and say, Russell, I want to have a conversation and I want to share. I want you to explain to me what you do.
Yeah, it's so the model that I'm going to. So guys, I hope you're not. I'm going to ask you to get out a pen and paper, but I hope you're not driving or on a treadmill or something like that. So only if you're safe, get out a pen and paper. The simple answer to this is I call it the ABC model. ABC. Okay, the A stands for attract an audience. The B stands for build a relationship. And C stands for create irresistible offers that help solve people's problems. Okay, so what you're asking for is the attraction of an audience portion of that. Okay. But always what I'm trying to do I'm doing one of those three things. I'm either trying to attract an audience, I'm trying to build a relationship, or I'm creating an offer to help solve their problems. That's what I'm doing. It's simple business model. It's ABC. So attraction of an audience, there are multiple ways you can do that. For example, let's take a real life case scenario. Let's take something real life. What am I doing right now, this moment, besides having an amazing conversation with a wonderful young man here?
What are you doing right now?
Yeah, what am I doing right now?
You look pretty relaxed. I don't know. Sitting down?
No, what are we doing? We're recording a killer podcast episode and inspiring some people to help them move forward, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Maybe something that has triggered that I said along this, maybe my upbringing, maybe just somebody grew up in a trailer park themselves. Maybe there was something in the stories that I've told up to this point about how I put investors first. Maybe something just at a gut level just sat there and go, geez, you know what? I like that guy. He's just one of the good guys. There's just something about that guy. And I want to reach out and I want to have a conversation with him. Okay. Then maybe something inspired somebody to go to my website. And then they went to my website and they found out that, geez, he has a place where he can do a consultation. Well, they clicked on a little button, read a little bit about that. They filled in a little questionnaire about what their goals are, what's stopping them, timelines, different things like that. And then we had this wonderful conversation. And I just came from a place of love and support and encouragement. And I'm here to just help people move forward. Okay. And then I will be like a doctor offering a prescription on what do you do for your next steps. And maybe one of the next steps I've heard was the conversation that I have capital. I don't know what to do with it. I'm afraid, I'm scared. I don't have certainty. I have no time. Then we can have a conversation about real estate. Okay. And so that's just one pillar is I do that and do podcasts all the time. I've created my own podcast. Okay. And I think, geez, we're on episode 13. Nowhere near where you're at, George, but I tell you, it's been a fun process.
Yeah.
Every single day at 9 a.m. in the morning, I post a inspirational quote card with a picture and I spread that out to multiple social media channels that goes there every day. I put out at least 5 or 6 Instagram stories. I wake up at 5 o'clock every morning. I take a picture of my watch and I usually have a little inspirational, let's get after it today. I share the story. I document the process. I tell actions I'm doing and things that I'm doing within the concept of real estate to try to keep moving forward. And by me just keep putting it out there, just inspiring and helping and help and more help and help and whatever, eventually somebody just goes, geez, for some reason, I just need to reach out and have a conversation with Russell. And then when somebody wants to have a conversation with me, I have very detailed funnels and processes that I will walk somebody through to qualify them of which path they need to go down. And I even go right down to how my CRM database is lined up about what action a certain person clicks on or what action that person takes determines on what offer they need to get in front of. Remember, attract an audience, build a relationship, create offers that help solve people's problems. And that's the simplest business model possible.
Very cool. And it sounds like you have a lot of systems in place. You talked about the free consultation on your website and the form that's attached and then your CRM and all that. Where did you learn to build these systems? Was there a certain program that you followed or was this just kind of piece by piece over time?
It's just actually it's just being in the world of direct response marketing for a better part of almost 20 years. I've had a lot of coaching and mentors along the years about being in direct response selling, direct response marketing. When I was with the Real Estate Investment Network, one of the main criteria within the Real Estate Investment Network is it's an information-based business, and you have to be able to market people to come into a membership program. Okay, so I helped build all those systems out and processes out over the years of being, School of Hard Knocks over 15 plus years of doing that. And I've just taken all those things I've learned for direct response copywriting, direct response marketing and selling, and moved it into the world of real estate investing. Because here's the thing is, if you actually get really good at it, if some of you are watching or listening to this, this could be a business within a business. Building a list of people that know, like, and trust you can be a business within the business. Potentially, I could sit there and I go, maybe a good friend of mine, comes to me and says, Russ, I got this amazing investment opportunity in Phoenix. Okay. Now I don't own that, but I look at it and I go, holy moly, I would invest my own money into that thing. As a matter of fact, I put my money into that deal. Okay. Then I will sit there and go out to my list and my community and say, look, guys, here's what I'm investing in. And the reason why I'm doing it is because X, Y, and Z. It's by all means, guys, if you're interested, please contact this person. They'll take good care of you. Tell them Russell sent you. And then I have a relationship with that person that I might get a referral based upon something I believe. And my business model was that I built a list of people that know, love, and trust me. And then I recommend solutions. Remember, create offers to solve people's problems. That's what I'm doing there. Or there might come a time, for example, the latest project I'm working on is we're looking to build 6 brand new houses in the market that I'm at, 6 in a row. Like, it's rare, like extremely rare to be able to get 6 suited houses in a row. Okay. And I'm putting that out to my list of people that might be interested, that know, like, and trust me, that have been on my list for, maybe 10 years. And maybe now they're ready to move forward. Maybe the deals that I had before were too small for them, but now they're ready for doing essentially a 12-unit build, in essence, right? You just never know. Like, you just keep showing up, keep attracting an audience, building a relationship, and creating offers that solve people's problems.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like a lot of what you do involves giving without expectation. You don't have to send people that to that person in, would you say Phoenix? I think you mentioned.
Yeah, just there's an example. Right?
Yeah, that person in Phoenix, and you're just helping that person without expecting anything in return. But you're saying that the universe kind of has a way of bringing that back to you, because maybe that person in Phoenix will introduce you to someone, or whatever else might happen.
The karma dollars always add up.
Yeah.
Always, in both directions, by the way.
Oh, definitely. That's
right?
real cool.
100%. Now, here's the thing is, I would 100% only recommend something that I personally believe in, and I believe in the person. I believe in that they would take good care of the people I recommend to. That's the number one thing. If there was a business relationship, that's a second or a third level down. Don't get me wrong. I would gladly have a referral relationship if it's available, but if it's not available, that does not stop me from making the recommendation, because I truly believe in the person, in the service, and the opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Some people might struggle with that idea of giving away, like, some of your clients that you've worked hard for, and passing them on to that person in Phoenix that has a different opportunity. What would you recommend to help somebody in that situation to change their mindset and kind of have more of a growth mindset rather than a scarcity mindset?
I know it's funny. It's one of those ones of just choose, just make a decision. Oh, hang on. There's my furry friend who's always with me here, Scooby.
Yeah,
so.
No worries. Yeah.
So here's what I would suggest is change the lens and always help people first. And by you helping enough people, the more people you will help in your journey, the more you will attract yourself for your own opportunities. Mm-hmm. And if you truly live by that philosophy, I think the world will actually be a better place. Now, I know that's a little bit airy-fairy, but if we really actually believe that, if we all just came from a place of helping and service of others, do you think we would have as many challenging times as we do right now?
No, definitely not.
Right. So I know it's really touchy-feely and airy-fairy and all that kind of stuff. But you know what? I'm trying to make my difference, and I'm trying to do my part by every interaction I have with another person is to leave them feeling inspired, encouraged, and come from a place of love. Right. Because I actually just set a new goal of what I want to accomplish within my business and my process here. So you want to hear that, George?
Sure. Yeah. Share it.
Well, so how's that for me setting myself up for a story?
Yeah.
No, so here's what it was. So remember the story I told you about age 30, milestone birthday.
Yeah.
Okay. That was the year 2000. Okay. Mm-hmm. So fast forward, this past year was 2020. Okay. So I had another milestone birthday. I just turned 50. Mm-hmm. And I'm one of those investors in the marketplace that probably have been in this game for almost 20 years. I'm fairly rare that I have this much experience and wisdom and knowledge and experience, and I'm still active today. I'm still learning. I'm still honing my craft and sharing everything I know with others. Okay, so I had my 50th birthday, and I sat back and I go, what have I accomplished up to this time? And I took an entire week to just kind of reflect on this. And I was just brutally honest with myself. And, you know, for your audience and your listeners, I came up with the solution is I did not help enough people in the first 20 years. I played too small. Even though I've bought over 100 places, I've written books and all this kind of stuff, I've done an awful lot. I have so much more to give. And I have so many more people's lives to touch and change the world that I sat down and I wrote down a goal, and it scared the crap out of me when I wrote it. And it said is to provide the tools and resources to help 1 million real estate investors with the tools and resources to help you buy one more piece of real estate that you couldn't have bought before. Okay. Then the whole part about one more piece of real estate is an exercise that I share with people. George, you might have to ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you own properties?
Yes.
Yes. What was the last place you bought?
When or what?
What type of property? What's purchase price and cash flow?
It was a 5-plex. Purchase price was $445.
Yep.
It had a vacant unit, so I don't know if you want me to count that.
What's it at now? Cash flow.
It's still. I just bought it recently, so it's still vacant.
Okay. What's the gross rent when it's full?
$4,500.
$4,500. Okay. So let's say, for example, and let's use a really conservative model that in say 15 years, that property does not go up in value $1, right? Now that's extremely conservative. Okay. In 15 years, and let's say you had some aggressive mortgage pay down strategies, and in 15 years, you own that property free and clear. Okay. And your $4,500 gross rent times.
Sorry, that's a monthly gross, obviously, not annual.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's $2,700 a month times 12 is $32,400. Okay. So here's what, in 15 years, George, if you had that property and it was free and clear, in essence, you own a $500,000 asset that generates $32,000 a year in income to you. Okay. Awesome. Would it be inspiring to you if you can learn a strategy, a tool, an inspiration, a trick, something to help you master to get the tools and resources to help you buy one more place?
Of course.
Right? Because if every property to you is worth $500,000 and $32,000, it's worthwhile, isn't it?
Definitely.
So that's my mission, is to inspire 1 million people with the tools and resources to help you acquire one more property.
Cool. Yeah, I'm sure you're going to inspire a lot of people, and I'm sure a lot of them will buy more than just one.
Well, especially after you get your podcast episode out, George.
Exactly. Definitely. Okay, cool. So you've shared a ton of really, really great stuff here. And I love that we discussed a lot of your mindset, because you've been doing this for a long time. You've got wisdom. I'm sure your mindset has changed from when you first started, and it's so important to have a certain mindset to grow. So I appreciate you sharing that. Before we move on to the next section, do you want to share any final messages?
I'm going to share a different one than I normally share. So for some of you that maybe have listened to lots of my podcast episodes, I'm going to share a different one today. I love podcasts and I love books. As you can see over my shoulder, if you're on YouTube, I have an entire bookshelf filled with books, and I listen to podcasts all the time. And this next point is going to come very ironic from somebody who writes books and produces a podcast. Guys, sometimes you have to put the books and the podcast down, and you actually have to implement something from it, right? A lot of people, it's like a badge of honor, or somebody at the end of the year say, I read 52 books this year. And then the question I would ask is, well, what action did you take from those 52 books? Mm-hmm. I think it's more important that you maybe go fewer but deeper and you execute against what you learn. Maybe what you do is you take a book a month and you read it over and over again, and you get 4 pages of notes and you make a plan and you execute against everything you learn from that book, as opposed to consuming more books and consuming more podcasts. We need to create, we don't need to consume. So yes. I'm going to just encourage each and every one of you is, sorry if I'm going to cut my listenership and your listenership in half, but put some podcasts and put the books down and execute against what you learn. If you learn something from this podcast, what are you going to do about it? Not just go to the next podcast with the next person, right? Yeah. So take action, create, don't consume.
Yeah. 100%. I used to be that person that would just consume stuff all the time or just something new every time. And this year, for the first time, I don't know if you're familiar with As a Man Thinketh by James Allen.
Yep.
Yeah, I listened to that audiobook maybe 40, 50 times in a row, just nonstop, just kept listening to it over and over. That was pretty cool.
I have a book on my desk that I'm probably on my 40th listen, and I've read it at least 6 times, and it's Tim S. Grover, Relentless.
Cool. Awesome. Yes. Somebody else recommended that book recently, so that it must be a good one.
It came into my life probably about 4 years ago, and it is just, it's hardcore. Like if you guys are David Goggins fans and you're like hardcore stuff, but Tim Grover was Michael Jordan's personal trainer for 20 years. So you think of helping elite performers at that level for that length of time, you can probably learn something. Now, just by all means, guys, it's not for the faint of heart, and it's very male centric, and there's an awful lot of language in it. If that offends you, you might want to move on, but it is hardcore. It's good stuff.
Cool. All right. So let's move on to the next section, which is the random 5. I'm going to ask you 5 random questions, and you're just going to tell me the first thing that comes to mind. You ready for it?
Got it.
All right. If your life was a meal, what kind of meal would it be?
Kind of meal would it be? Holy moly. It would be my life was a meal. Great question. It would be a smoothie. It would be high in nutrients. It would be to the point. It would be all blended together, and it'd be delicious.
Nice. That's awesome. Okay. Number 2, why did you decide to do the work that you're doing now?
I love to help. It's probably to my detriment sometimes that some people I've had an awful lot. There's an old saying, and this is probably, sometimes a fault that I might have, is sometimes I'll help others before I'll help myself. There's an old saying is, put your oxygen mask on first before you help others. I'm just wired that I help others first, sometimes to the detriment of myself. And it's something I'm looking at maybe changing, but I love to help and support people. One of the greatest joys I have is on my personal website of my testimonials and the heartfelt stories and the people that I help inspire them to take their life to the next level. That is one of the most heartfelt things I can ever do. It's one of the most valuable work you could do is be in the service of others.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And it's cool that your goal is to help more people, yet that kind of starts with helping yourself first.
I 100% agree. And sometimes that's some work that I have to do in myself is sometimes, I'm my own coach. We're our own coaches. Is sometimes you have to feel worthy enough of getting those accolades and getting all those things come your way. And that's some of the hardest work you do, is to feel the worth that good thing and success should come to you and you're worthy of it.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right. Number 3, what seemed normal in your family when you were growing up, but seems weird now?
What in normal my family? I don't know. Having cereal for dinner.
Okay.
I don't know. That's a great question, right?
Yeah.
Sorry. What seemed normal was actually, I shared the story as being outside and being able to go play with every kid in the neighborhood, no matter of background and skin color and age or whatever. Just everybody just got along and everybody just played, and you had community. And sometimes that's a little, as foreign, as strange as that sounds, that's a little bit odd at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. That's cool. Okay, number 4, what skill or ability have you always wanted to learn?
Skill or ability. I always wanted to learn to play music. What just fascinates me sometimes is when I see a master, like somebody, someone who can play the piano, or somebody that can pick up a guitar, or somebody that can play drums or something. It's just, it's just something that just fascinates me, of just somebody who just has the rhythm and the music in them. And you sit there and you go to a party and somebody sits down to the piano and they could just take requests and they'll just play all night long. I think that's just a phenomenal skill.
Yeah. I agree. That's really cool. I wish I could do that too.
I don't have any of that in me.
What success principle do you live by?
Success principle I live by. Well, I'm going to do something different. The one I would normally give would be to always live by your most core values: inspire, encourage, and love. But here's the one I'm going to share with you that came up was every single day, get up and chase the person you are destined to become. The competition isn't with other people. The competition is within yourself to become the best person you possibly can. And when you, on your deathbed, when you meet the person on your deathbed, you want to sit back and say, you know what? Thanks for everything you've done over the years. And you don't want to say thanks for nothing.
Mm-hmm. Cool. That's awesome advice. You gave us a double answer.
Okay.
I like that. Okay.
Well, I like to try over deliver.
Yeah. So how can people reach you and what services do you provide?
Well, the simplest way would be, my name, Russell Westcott. It's on all the social platforms. It's my main hub is my website, where everything revolves around that. And in a day and age of social media and stuff like that, I think every person should have a personal branded website, because it's the one thing you own. It's, like YouTube could go away, podcasts, Spotify's, Facebook's, Instagrams, they could change all their algorithms and your content is gone. Mm-hmm. If you don't have your own personal branded website, that is your own domain where nobody can control it but yourself. And that's kind of the hub that everything else revolves around it. Now, I've also been told by people that have gone to it that I probably have one of the best looking, functional resources of a website. And I'm not trying to pander for people to go check it out, but by all means, go check it out, because I think it's a fantastic example of what you guys can do. And that's only been 3 years since I actually saw the back side and back end of a website of WordPress. And I learned how to do that on my own, on top of everything else I was doing. And I created that in less than 3 years. Cool.
That's awesome. And did you want to just touch on the services?
You guys can go check it out there. I help, here's the simple answers. I help real estate investors start, grow, and scale the real estate investing portfolio of their dreams.
You help with the ABCs.
If you're looking to get started, if you're looking to grow or you're looking to scale, I can help you. And I will 100% not put you in exactly a prescribed path. I will actually customize a path of what you want to go down. Like, I have people that come to me that, it's time for a quick story here, George.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, so for example, I have conversations with people that are just getting started. And after the conversation, I'll find out where they are. I'll find out where they want to get to, and I'll put together a little path. And for some people, the answer is that you need to go and read Real Estate Investing in Canada by Don R. Campbell. And then after you've read that book, you need to then read Real Estate Joint Ventures, the two books that I've co-authored that second book. Because one will get you started on investing within Canadian real estate. The other will help you bust through the biggest obstacle you will face, and that's where to find the money. And after you've read those 2 books and you've made a plan of what you're going to implement, you're going to do from them, contact me back again and we'll have another consultation call. Mm-hmm. And you'll be shocked at how few people actually call me back.
Cool. Well, I'm going to say one thing. I'm going to buy that book, for sure, the joint ventures one. Would you recommend that I should buy the first one, the real estate investing for Canadians, I think you said?
Yeah, real estate investing in Canada. One of the things that does best is that it gets you to decide to make a commitment if real estate is for you. That's the first thing I tell people is, if you're going to be in real estate, you're going to be a real estate investor, it's a commitment and you need to make that decision. So that's usually the first thing it does. Then the second thing it does is it walks you through a really good process and a system to help you be able to buy Canadian real estate, buy and hold properties.
Okay. Okay. So if you already own some real estate, is that still a book you would recommend, or would you say just go into the joint venture?
Yeah, if you own real estate and you're maybe feeling a little bit stuck, I would highly recommend you come give me a call, check out my website. I have a resource called the Raising Capital Academy that helps people raise capital for their transactions. And every person in that community owns real estate, right from somebody maybe has 3 places all the way up to people that have 200, 400. We actually have one of the contributors has a $2.3 billion portfolio who contributes to that community.
Cool. That sounds good. Okay. Well, once again, thank you very much for sharing all that. So there's tons of good stuff in here, and I'm sure you're going to impact the people that are listening. So Thank you very much.
Well, glad to help, George. And once again, congratulations for doing a wonderful job.
Thanks. I look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Good. Cheers.
Thanks once again for listening to another episode of the Well Off Podcast. Just want to remind you that if you do appreciate the content, all I ask is that you comment, maybe like it if you can on the platform that you're listening to it on, and finally share it with friends and family. I'd love to get the message out there, and it would mean a lot if you can share it. And finally, I just wanted to offer you, as a valued listener, a free copy to the Roadmap to Real Estate Investing, which is a document that I've put together which helps you identify what strategy would best suit your needs at this current time. You go over certain things that are included in this document step by step, and it'll hopefully provide you with some clarity. So have a look. You can go to www.welloff.ca/guide to download your free copy.